white boy privilege. Dear women, I'm sorry. Dear black people, I'm sorry. Dear Asian Americans, dear Native Americans, dear immigrants who come here seeking a better life, I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry? Where do you have to be sorry about? You're what? You're an 8th grader. What does that make you? 13, 14 years old? 15? Or maybe 14. But why are you sorry? You haven't done anything to these people.
Dear everyone who isn't a middle or upper class white boy, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's why. You're apologizing for your race. Because, you know, if we told black people to do that, it would be racist. But for a white boy, it's okay.
I have started life at the top of a ladder while you were born on the first rung. I say now that I would change places with you in an instant, but if given the opportunity, would I? Probably not, because to be honest, being privileged is awesome.
And how are you privileged, other than being white and being male? In what way specifically do you have privilege? Because you being at that school there, I see some black people in there. I see a lot of women in there. So what is it exactly that you have that others do not? Now maybe it's your class that has privilege. Okay, maybe you're in a nice school and there are people who can't afford to go to a nice school. But your class has neither to do with your race or your gender. So what privilege do you have exactly?
I'm not saying that you and me on different rungs of the ladder is how I want it to stay. I'm not saying that any part of me has for a moment even liked it that way. I'm just saying that I fucking love being privileged and I'm not ready to give that away.
You're not ready to give it away. You're saying that you're privileged and that you want it to be equal, but you don't want to give away your privilege. Did you proofread this before you went up there and spoke about it? Because you kind of sound like a hypocrite, little boy. Just saying. Might want to proofread. I'm not attacking you. I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying, maybe want to rethink some of your points here before going up and making an ass of yourself.
I love it because I can say fucking and not one of you is attributing that to the fact that everyone with my skin color has a dirty mouth.
Did you just say fuck? This is a school function, right? Why are you saying the word fuck? Why is it not any teacher there saying, that's inappropriate language, you're going to be sent to the principal's office? Because when I was in school, I mean, even saying the words hell, damn, was bad enough. Even saying geez, it was a bad word. But you're going for like the top there with fuck. You put fuck in your fucking poem? I know I'm saying fuck, but I'm a fucking adult. And I'm on an open forum like YouTube, which doesn't prohibit me from using the word fuck. But you're at a fucking school. Where is the adults saying you cannot put the word fuck in your poem? Oh, it's because you're apologizing for being a white male, so they'll let that slide because everything else is good. God, schools have really fallen off the deep end since my time. Oh, God.
I love it because I don't have to spend an hour every morning putting on makeup to meet other people's standards.
Most girls who put on makeup don't do it to other people's standards. They do it because they have their own standards of what beautiful is. Now, yes, you could claim glamour magazines and whatnot, but the problem is that people keep buying these magazines. If we wanted to get rid of this beauty standards, then individuals would have to stop buying the magazines, telling people who do the magazines, hey, people are not buying it. Why? Well, we set impossible beauty standards. Okay, let's set realistic ones. It's called capitalism. And I know capitalism is a bad word, but that's how it works. They wouldn't keep doing something if it wasn't making them money. So, in the end, the standards of beauty that girls have is put on themselves.
I love it because I can worry about what kind of food is on my plate instead of whether or not there will be food on my plate.
Worried about there being food on your plate. Okay, that has nothing to do with your gender or your race or even your sexuality, anything. Because there are white people, white men, white boys who have to go hungry each day. Who, don't make any money, are homeless, living on the street. Has nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with gender. In fact, more men are homeless than women. So you sit there and spout off about how, oh, well, because of my race and gender, I don't have to worry about where my next meal's coming from. That's a class issue. You belong to a higher class, which allows you the luxury of being choosy about what you eat versus whether or not you get to eat. That's classism. Race and gender has nothing to do with class. There are poor people all around, of all colors, of all genders, of all everything in America and in the rest of the world today. White people are not excused from that. There is no white privilege.
I love it because when I see a police officer, I see someone who's on my side.
Oh my fucking God. Oh God. I don't want to attack this kid because I don't think it's his fault, but oh my fucking God. Oh. The police are on everyone's side. Yes, we are dealing with the issues of police brutality, but you know what? Police brutality also happened to white people. More white people are killed by the police every year than black people. I know, it's racist of me to say it, but it's fucking true. If anyone should be worried about the cops, it's white people. Now, yes, blacks do have more interactions with the police than white people do. And when we take percentage of population, because white people have such a large percentage, which is over 70%, it seems like a small drop in the bucket when you compare the number of white people to the population versus black people and their population. But when you look at actual numbers, white people are more likely to be killed by the police. You don't hear about that because the media doesn't report it. Why would they? No one would care if a white person died. No one would care if a white person was gunned down by the police, whether he deserved it or not. That's white privilege. Being told that you don't matter because you have all of this privilege, so we don't care when something bad happens to white people. This little kid has been indoctrinated to believe that what he has is really good, but it's not. It's just as bad as everyone else. And I know I'm probably going to have Black Lives Matter up my ass for that comment. Bring it on. I'm fucking sick of this inclusive nature of feminism, Black Lives Matter bullshit. The cops are on everyone's side. Yes, a minority of cops abuse their privilege. And I'm all for those individuals being put behind bars for having the book thrown at them and being set to a higher standard. But not all cops are our enemies. Most cops are on our side.
To be honest, I'm scared of what it would be like if I wasn't on the top rung.
Little kid, you're not on the top rung. You're really not. You're a little kid. You're not even an adult yet. You can't drive, you can't drink, you can't vote. You're not on the top rung of anything. You're a stupid little kid who's not smart enough to figure out he's being indoctrinated. All kids your age are stupid, so don't think I'm attacking you specifically. That's why you go to school, to learn. Unfortunately, you're going to a school that's trying to tell you that you're the enemy. So you're not on the top rung of anything. Not even in your school are you on the top.
If the tables were turned and I didn't have my white boy privilege safety blankie to protect me. If I lived a life lit by what I lack, not what I have. If I lived a life in which when I failed, the world would say, told you so. If I lived the life that you live.
All those kids there, you are living their lives. You're there. You're in school with each other. You're living each other's lives. But you know what? How about you go live the life of the bum who lives on the street? The bum who's begging for money. And guess what? That bum is a white man. Go live in his life for a while. For a year. For 10 years. For the rest of your life. Who has no choice but to beg on the streets, to wear ratty clothes, and maybe once a year can go to a shelter to feed him for Christmas. And then you tell me about your white privilege and how you're fortunate to be white despite living on the streets with no money, being spit at by society, being told that you don't need help because you're white, being told that you don't need help because you're male. Go tell me about white privilege when you are on the side of the street begging for scraps.
When I was born, I had a success story already written for me. You were given a pen and no paper. I've always felt that that's unfair, but I've never dared to speak up.
Scared? Scared of what? Being told that you had more privilege, that you had a success story already written? Again, that's classism. Because there are plenty of poor white boys out there that got the short end of the stick. Look at me. I'm 36. I'm disabled. I can't get the system to help me at all. I, lost almost everyone I ever knew because of my disability. I'm not married. I'm not in a relationship. I haven't been in a relationship in 4 years. I'm still waiting for that privilege to come. My mother had to work 2 jobs just to support us. Now, we weren't so poor that we couldn't get new clothes every year, but they were usually discounted clothes. Now, maybe I didn't live in a ghetto. I lived in apartment complexes, I lived in houses. And maybe I had it a little bit better than some people in this world. But there were a lot of other people that had it better than me. People telling me, oh, well, you're not cool because you don't have the designer clothing. Oh, you don't have suede shoes. I don't even know what the fuck that was. That I had to wear the same set of shoes all year long. I'm waiting for that white privilege to come. Especially when I need it the most right now. Where's the white privilege? Did I not get my card in the mail? Should I maybe tell the government, hey, I didn't get my white privilege card. Could you go ahead and send that? Because, I'm having to require other people to take care of me. And I don't want to do that. I want to take care of myself. But I can't get the help that I need. Now, most of what I faced in my life was classism. But the point is that a white boy can experience the same things that others do. That not all white boys are rich.
Because I've been too scared. Well, now I realize that there's enough blankie to be shared. Everyone should have the privileges that I have. In fact, they should be rights.
Okay, so what privileges do you have specifically that should be rights? And I want you to go ahead and name 5 things that men have that women don't. Name 5 things. 5. Now, I understand that you're a little kid and you've been indoctrinated to believe that you are the devil. That you're what's wrong with the world. And that's why you're getting up there and giving a poetry. And I'm pretty sure that was a homework assignment as well. Why don't you go ahead and write all of the privileges you have? And, basically look in the back of the book to see what you should write down. And I'm sure you can name some stuff, and I can quickly debunk every single one of those. Again, I don't blame you, little kid. This is not your fault.
Dead. Everyone's story should be written, so all they have to do is get it read. Enough said. No, not enough said. It is embarrassing that we still live in a world in which we judge another person's character by the size of their paycheck, the color of their skin, or the type of chromosomes they have. It is embarrassing that we tell our kids that it is not their personality, but instead those same chromosomes that get to dictate what color clothes they wear and how short they must cut their hair.
Your chromosomes don't determine any of that. Except maybe skin color, but what color you wear? You're wearing pink shoes! Did your chromosomes say you could wear pink shoes? Did you ask your chromosomes for that privilege? Or did you just decide to do it? People have preferences of colors. And yes, it's statistically proven that girls tend to like pink. Girls tend to like lighter colors. Boys tend to like darker colors. It's always been true. Now, yes, once upon a time, pink used to be a boy's color until women hijacked that color to represent the feminist movement, and has since then been associated to girls. But it's still a choice. And yes, little girls have a choice on what color they want. But if you want to blame that girls are associated with pink, don't blame men for that one, blame women. But your chromosomes only tell you how you're going to live. It doesn't make choices for you. You make your own choices about the clothes you wear, about how long your hair is, or how short. You can go bald if you want. I've known a couple of bald chicks in my life. So, you know what? Don't tell me that it's chromosomes that decide this.
But most of all, it is embarrassing that we deny this, that we claim to live in an equal country in an equal world.
Ever hear of affirmative action? Not just for black people, but for women as well. In fact, many places around the world are starting to cater to this idea that women are oppressed, and are starting to oppress men as compensation for that. That women are being oppressed, so let's give them lots of money. Oh, but men are also suffering a form of oppression. But they're men, so they can take care of themselves. Or they're men, they're the ones who are causing all the problems in the world, so we don't need to focus on them. Millions of dollars are given to women for domestic violence, but nothing is given to men when it comes to domestic violence. No, that's not true. Something is given to men. They're arrested when they're the victims of domestic violence because of something called the Duluth Model. The Duluth Model says that men are automatically guilty. Hey, if they're being abused, they probably did something to provoke it. So it's better to get rid of the man so the woman can be safe, even if she's the aggressor, even if she's the one who started it, even if she was violent, even if she killed him. She is the victim. Always, hands down, she is the victim. That is what men are awarded. That is male privilege. Is that what you want as a white boy? To be told that you're always at fault for everything you do?
We say that women can vote. Well, guess what? They can run a country, own a company, and throw a nasty curveball as well. We just don't give them the chance to.
Really? Hillary Clinton is, like almost the American president. How many women have gone into politics? The truth of the matter is that women tend not to be interested in running for public office. But here's the other major kicker, is that women are statistically more likely to vote for a male candidate even with a woman on the ballot. Because it doesn't matter what's between your legs, it's what's up here. And if what is up here is going to do the things that the people want, that's what they're going to vote for. Because the rest of this just doesn't matter. Don't give me this bullshit that we don't give them the chance to do so. Women can do anything a man can do. It's just that she has to work harder to achieve the same things that a man can do. It doesn't automatically get awarded to women that if a man can lift a 100-pound weight and that's a requirement for a job, she can go ahead and do the same job but only lift 30 pounds. Because that's what's happening, is that standards are being lowered just so women can do things. You know, if a woman wants to work on an oil rig, have at it. But you have to perform the same way that a man does. Because if you don't, people will die. Same thing with firefighting. Fire departments are starting to lower their standards just so there's more women. Just so they can be more inclusive. And what that's doing is putting people's lives in danger.
I know it wasn't us 8th grade white boys who created this system, but we profit from it every day.
Yeah, you're right. No one alive today created this system. Even if there was such a system in existence, no one alive today created it. Here's the kicker. This system that you described doesn't exist. It was made up in the 70s by the feminist movement.
We don't notice these privileges, though, because they don't come in the form of things we gain, but rather the lack of injustices that we endure.
The lack of injustices that you endure. Well, I think I've mentioned quite a few injustices that white men endure in this country. But just know that your privilege, if you ever get shot by a cop, no one's going to give a shit. No one's going to be like, oh, he was unjustly shot. Even if you were. No one's going to care.
Because of my gender, I can watch any sport on TV and feel like that could be me one day. Because of my race, I can eat at a fancy restaurant without the waitstaff expecting me to steal the silverware.
Citation needed. What waitstaff in all of America expects their non-white customers to steal things? Citation needed.
Thanks to my parents' salary, I go to a school that brings my dreams closer instead of pushing them away. Dear white boys, I'm not sorry. I don't care if you think the feminists are taking over the world or the Black Lives Matter movement has gotten a little too strong, because that's bullshit.
It's bullshit that they've gotten a little too strong. It's bullshit that Black Lives Matter assassinated 6 cops in Dallas. That's bullshit for you? That, oh, they're getting a little strong and that feminism is getting a little strong. No. These systems are taking over and the politicians are rolling over and letting them do whatever they want. You know, I believe, what was it, Memphis? Where, you know, a bunch of Black Lives Matter lined up in the streets. And a father's pleading, please let me get through. My baby is dying. And had to get the paramedics to drive out to them. The baby was dying. And a bunch of black people were on the street saying, we're not going to let you drive. That is criminal. And they are not arrested for that. They are not arrested for potentially killing people. There are black people who are saying, I'm going to lose my job because I can't get through on traffic. They're endangering lives. And, you know, I'm not even going to get into feminists right now. You can watch the rest of my channel for my discussion on feminism. But feminism is what's ruining this country. Every single day, our country is just a little bit worse because of feminism.
I get that change can be scary, but equality shouldn't be. Hey, white boys, It's time to act like a woman, to be strong and make a difference. It's time to let go of that fear.
Wait. Did he say it's time to act like a woman? Didn't you just say that you're not sorry for the privileges you have as a white boy and that you wouldn't give them up? But now you're saying it's time to act like a woman, to be strong. We need to get some sort of authority to this school. We do. This is indoctrination. This is child abuse. He's being told that he should be embarrassed for his race, something he couldn't control. He should be ashamed of his gender, that he should be more like a woman. This is abuse. This is what the school system is becoming. And he'd rather be a woman than a man in the name of equality. Well, I hate to break it to you, little kid, but you are the true victim of society right now. Once upon a time, white people did have a lot of privilege. White men had a lot of privilege, but it was earned because of the things that white men had to sacrifice of themselves just to earn a living for their family. Having to work in a gold mine that could easily collapse on them at any given moment, no warnings whatsoever. Or working in a mercury mine and breathing in the toxic fumes that could kill them. And I've not seen very many women who have earned the privileges that have been awarded to them. Hell, we're even talking now about women being a part of the draft that men have had to do since 1917 in the United States. They've been part of the draft. And it's almost been 100 years and women have never been required. But the excuse given is, oh, well, they don't do frontline combat. They now do. So we now should have women doing the draft. Oh, but there's no draft, so we don't need to worry about it. Then why are men punished for not signing up for the draft? If I didn't sign up for the draft, I couldn't get student loans. I couldn't get a government job. But no, we can't send women off to war. No, that would be a bad thing. We shouldn't send our daughters to war, but let our sons die for their country. Because a man is worthless otherwise. But let's protect women. Let's keep women safe, away from any real responsibility. They get all the benefits without any of the responsibility. Now, there are women out there who take on that responsibility, and I commend them. But if given a choice, most women won't take on the responsibility for the privileges they have. Unlike you, who's saying, well, I'm not sorry, I wouldn't switch with you. They would try to convince you that you have more than them. A man who has to go and fight for his country and die in a war has more privilege than the woman who gets the right to vote and stays home and does whatever the hell she wants.
It's time to take that ladder and turn it into a bridge.
So, oh my God, this is awful. This is awful that we have a white kid who's basically saying, I'm better than you, but I'm sorry for it. Who's ashamed of himself and has been taught to be ashamed of himself. But before I really tear into this, let's watch a video of an interview with this little kid.
When did the idea come that you're going to tackle that terminology, white boy privilege? How long has this message been stirring?
I knew about white privilege and male privilege for most of my life, but I never realized how prevalent it was in our society until this year when I went to a new school called the Paideia School, and we take a class called Race, Class, and Gender, and that really made me a lot more aware of the privileges that I have, that other people don't often have, many other people don't have. There are definitely some people who do deny that white privilege and male privilege exist. And I think that's because they choose to not see it in our world. They choose to see the progress that we have made.
Oh, that's such bullshit. Sorry to interrupt this. I want to let this go before I respond, but we're choosing not to see it? No. We see the truth. We use facts and evidence. And your side uses conjecture and anecdotal evidence. That your feelings is far more important than evidence. We don't choose not to see white privilege. We recognize what white privilege is. A scapegoat. That all of life's problems are caused because white people have privilege is not anywhere near close to the truth. It has nothing to do with privilege. It has to deal with personal responsibility and people not wanting to take it.
And a lot of kids, they learn these days when they're learning about the civil rights movement, for example, it's sort of put into their heads that now we're all equal. And there's so much progress has been made, but there's still a long way to go.
So who's your audience here? Are you trying to reach maybe that white friend of yours that may not fully agree but's open to listen?
Yeah, definitely. I want to reach the people who are ready to have an open dialogue about this. There have been a lot of people who have commented on YouTube and just said insults without even mentioning the content of my poem or my beliefs.
Oh, don't worry. I've mentioned the content of your poem. This entire thing has been the mentioning of your poem. So you know what? You want to respond to me? We can have a little bit of dialogue and I can tell you how you've been indoctrinated. Kid, you have a good head on your shoulders and I understand you're trying to do the right thing. But this isn't the right thing. Throwing your own gender under the bus. Throwing your own race under the bus. Yeah, there's work that needs to be done. I agree with that. But it's not in the way that you are being taught.
Just see that terminology and they're out.
Yeah, but if they say, I disagree with you, here's why, and then explain it some, then I will be more than willing to discuss it with them.
Feel free to come to my channel. In fact, we can do a video together and we can go ahead and discuss it. And I promise I will not raise my voice at all. I know I tend to do that on my channel, but that's just me myself. I can be very civil when I want to be.
Love the analogy here, and you're going to hear it again, of turning a ladder into a bridge. Let's watch it.
Hey, white boys, it's time to act like a woman, to be strong and make a difference. It's time to let go of that fear. It's time to take that ladder and turn it into a bridge.
Give us more of what your thoughts are there. What's your hope?
Yeah, I think that, when you think about a ladder, you have to climb up that, and
somebody's higher, somebody's lower, right?
Yeah, exactly. And some people start out higher in our society on that ladder, whereas on a bridge, we all can walk across. We all start at one side, and then we'll walk across. And so then it's really equal opportunity, and that's all that I want. And lots of people say that that already exists, that people will only find themselves in poverty if they don't work hard enough. But there are a lot of other things that contribute to people being in poverty or not having.
You are right. You're 100% right. That there are many different reasons why people, become poor. But guess what? White men are also going to be poor. You can find white people being poor. It's not such a small percentage of people. They're out there. In fact, when we go and look at the percentage of people that are homeless as of 2014, we're noticing that a large percentage is male. At least 2/3 are male, then compared to females. And what about whites? It's about equal between whites and blacks. Percentage of them in sheltered homeless population, 40% versus 40.1 versus 40.6. Blacks just a little bit more. Percentage of individuals, 47.8 versus 36.6. Percentage of persons in families. Yeah, African Americans win out on that one. Now, this isn't a competition, but the point of the matter is is that generally pretty divided amongst men of black and white of who's homeless. But you can't just say that homelessness is an issue of race and that homelessness is because of white men having privileges. These men here do not have any privilege. They're the bottom rung of society. You wanted facts, you wanted evidence, here you go. Because I'm willing to show my work. But your little speech there, your little poem, it doesn't cite any references at all.
Different privileges. And so I want it to be where actually if you work hard to succeed, then you will succeed. I've gotten some feedback that people have, I think, interpreted my poem in a bit of a wrong way and feel that I'm ashamed of my race and feel that I'm saying that white boys especially should be ashamed of their race and their gender. But in reality, I'm not ashamed at all, and nobody should be ashamed about their race because that's an uncontrollable thing. I was born this way. There's no reason to be ashamed of that.
But didn't you say it's time to start acting like girls?
Hey, white boys, it's time to act like a woman, to be strong and make a difference.
You said those exact words, which would only be spoken by someone who's ashamed of being a man, because you're encouraging people to act like women. Kid, again, you're a stupid 15-year-old kid. All 15-year-olds are stupid. Okay? I don't blame you. You're only regurgitating what you're being taught. What I blame is society itself telling you that you are the problem, that you have all of this privilege that's coming out of your pores. This is the thing that I'm fighting against. No child should be told that they are the problem in the world. We're having a New York class segregated to the white people and the black children being told, hey, you are the victims of this world, while the white children are being told, you are the problem. This is going on right now, and it's not that no one's aware of it. People are aware this is going on, and they are cheering for it. We don't get the equality that we desire by separating people and saying, hey, you over here are the problem and you over here are the victims. Doesn't work that way. What you do is you bring them together and say, these are the problems in society. In what ways, working together, can we resolve them? And actual problems, not one that's based on anecdotal feels. Actual evidence. I'm so fucking pissed off right now. And again, it's not at this little kid, and I know I've yelled, and it's not that I want to attack him. He doesn't know any better. And I know I'm stripping away his agency, but it's because, he is just absorbing everything around him, and everything around him is telling him, you are privileged. You have all of these things because of your race, because of your gender, and it's simply not true. And he might be able to put on a brave face now, but this is going to affect him. And it makes me scared to know that there's a good chance he might kill himself one day if he continues to believe this, that he is the problem, because white men the most likely to commit suicide of all races and gender. And then he sits there and spouts off, well, people choose not to see it. Sorry, kid, you're being fed those lines. Someone is your puppet master, and you're just a puppet, and you don't even realize it. Or maybe you do. Feminism and Black Lives Matter are now using children to fight. They're using them as human shields, and it is disgusting. But you know what, little kid? I hope you see this. I really do. And I've been hard on you, but someone has to be. Someone has to give you the ugly truth. Because your parents are not doing it, your school is not doing it, and the rest of the world is not doing it. And I'm sorry to be the one to have to do that for you. But you said that if people respond to your video, actually give you some sort of evidence, some sort of logical discussion about why you're wrong, you're willing to talk to them. I invite you onto my channel. Let's actually talk. And I'll give you a real education. And I'll tell you about all the problems we face, and I will back it all up with evidence. And if you want to show me evidence too of your claims, I'll be happy to look at them, and I'll be happy to debunk them as to why they're invalid. I see the studies that feminists use, and they're built off of poor premises. They don't test for the right things, or they have such a small sample size, or they make conclusions based on anecdotal evidence. I've seen it time and time again. But I challenge you. I challenge you to come on my channel. Let's have a calm, civil discussion. And you can bring everything that you've learned, and I'll bring everything I've learned. Now, unfortunately, I have a privilege because I'm 36 and you're 15. So I've seen more than you have. But you seem so sure about what the world is. I challenge you to a discussion. Just you and me. I'm really, really worried about you. You cannot go on in life believing that you have something that no one else does. That you are the problem. You're the scourge of society. Because that's only going to lead to you hating yourself. And you may say you don't hate yourself now, and maybe that's true. But as you get older, you're going to start if someone doesn't come along and say, this is wrong. I almost want to cry right now for that kid. I really do. I cry for all of the white kids that are forced into this education system that's going to tell them that they are the problem and that anything that they have was given to them by someone else, and they cannot be proud of anything. Because this might have been just one class he had that taught him this, but it makes me wonder what the rest of his classes are like. And I know teachers can easily abuse the privilege of being a teacher and shaping young children's minds and try to insert some sort of social justice warrior politics in there, even in math class. We see it. We see it all the time. We think these are just tiny little incidences. They're not. This is a major epidemic. We thought school was bad before. It's a lot worse now. We need to do something. We need to say that we don't want our children being taught like this. To being told that they're the problem. And maybe when they get to college they can, be told this stuff. Let's just teach them and get them to a point to where they can be responsible for themselves in society. And not try to influence their politics because, hey, might as well have them here because you are no different than the cigarette companies. Yeah, the education system is like the tobacco industry. Get them while they're young. You are all horrible people. I'm sure there's some good people within the education system that are fighting against this, and I commend you. And I'm not talking about you, but anyone who thinks that this is a good idea, telling white boys that they are the problem and that everyone else should hate him because he has some sort of privilege, you are the tobacco industry of the 21st century. You are killing people. You are cancer. Anyways, this is Mad Cat signing out.